What is up, guys? Dirty Boot Sports, and we are back with episode number 132. This time, we got another interview. We have Matt Moscona, and yeah, we're here. Peyton's here. Peyton's been waiting on this. We got Chance. Ty will be showing up soon. You'll see him come in.
I think Peyton's been waiting a year for this.
Yes, pretty much. But yeah, Matt, tell everybody who you are and introduce yourself a bit.
What set you represent?
I'm Matt. I've done sports radio in Louisiana since 2007. If you can spell my name, you can find me on the internet, man. I'm pretty blessed. I got a good gig. I'm based out of Baton Rouge, but syndicated all over the state, except where y'all are. So any Shreveport, Monroe, North Louisiana affiliates interested would love to be carried up in the 318. But no, I always say, man, I got the best job in the world. They pay me to sit on my butt and talk about sports, and I make a good living doing it. So
Amen.
As long as they keep paying me, I'll keep doing it.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of spelling the last name, I do get that confused a lot. I don't know if it's M-A, M-O. I feel like every time I text it to Peyton, it's something different. So I got to get that. I got to get that down.
Happens all the time, man. I always just tell people it's like a breakfast scone, like Moscona. But yeah, man, if you can spell it, you can find me. I'm everywhere.
Absolutely.
Speaking of everywhere, tell everybody you have so many different shows now. I feel like you do with all your different podcasts and with
all over my TikTok.
Yeah, it's all over Chance's TikTok.
I love it.
Yeah, just tell everybody all the different ones you do.
Well, media is interesting. I mean, us sitting here doing this, guys, is a great example of just the evolution of the industry. I mean, I'm 41 years old, and I went to LSU for journalism, and always knew I was going to do broadcast. But I started in May of 2003 thinking I wanted to do news radio. And what's so interesting is, even in my relatively short amount of time in media, which, it's 20 years now, but in the grand scheme of the industry, it's a blink. We've seen massive evolution. The gatekeepers don't exist anymore. It used to be that if you wanted an opportunity to be on air, to be a columnist in a newspaper, like, somebody had to retire or die, and then someone had to deem you worthy. So I always say it's interesting because, the sort of the catch-22 is that it's the best time in media because the gatekeepers don't exist. Guys, you have a show that has worldwide distribution. If you have an internet connection and a phone, you can have worldwide distribution if you're good enough. If you're good enough, you can win. But the flip side of it is, because the barrier to entry has never been easier, it's harder now to stand out amid so many voices. So my philosophy has always been, I have to be everywhere, in every day part, in every format, on every platform, however, whenever, where people want to consume me. So yes, my radio show is a daily 3-hour sports talk radio show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, but we're syndicated in New Orleans, Lafayette, Lake Charles, Alexandria. We stream the show live on YouTube. We stream live audio. We post-produce video clips on YouTube. There are people who have no idea that I'm a radio host. There are people who, like, I literally had this happen last Sunday. I was in Baton Rouge. I'm at the Walgreens by my house, and I'm walking in, and some guy stops me and goes, "Hey, man, are you the YouTube guy?" I'm like, yes, I am the YouTube.
Yes.
All he does is watch my Saints YouTube channel for my Saints content. He has no concept that I'm a radio host. So, like, it's just a great lesson to learn that, like, you just have to be willing to be everywhere. So you asked, what I do. Long way of answering your question. Sorry, I'm a radio guy. I talk. I wake up in the morning and I do a live vlog called Morning Scone. That's live on my YouTube and Facebook channel. It's usually around 7:30 Central Time. I've done that over 2,000 days consecutively. I've never missed.
Ooh.
Literally never missed a day.
I don't think I have either.
Podcast called LSU Daily, which drops every weekday, which is basically just LSU content from my radio show. I do the show 3 to 6 afternoons. Wednesday nights, I do a show at a restaurant with T-Bob Bear called Scone and Tea. We do our post-game show at a cigar bar called Whiskey and Wine. and that's scratching the surface a little. There's a ton else I do because I post produce everything on TikTok and Instagram and LinkedIn and everywhere else. But the reality is, if you're not there when somebody wants LSU content, Saints content, whatever they're looking for, if you're not there, somebody else will be in their feed. So I'm always going to be in everybody's feed.
Yeah, I absolutely love the names. Those are very clever, and definitely something that sticks out. Yeah, I guess Chance just looks at you as a TikTok guy.
Yeah, I didn't know you were a radio host either. I thought you used to be a radio host.
All good, bro. Like and Chance, like I don't take offense at that at all. Like I never assume that people know who I am or what I do. And I've been doing this for 20 years and I've had a lot of success. Like, name an award, I've won it. I mean, I'm syndicated in markets that no radio host in this state's ever been syndicated in. Bro, I've had a lot of success, but that don't mean nothing, man.
Yeah.
Yesterday doesn't mean anything. Tomorrow is what matters.
Yep.
Because I mean, you guys, let's say you guys go viral and all of a sudden everybody says bleep Moscona, I'm going to start watching Dirty Boot. Okay. Well, guess what? Congrats. Hat tip. So it's my job to make sure y'all don't take my job.
We'll have you on every now and then.
Yeah.
And
I
the
also
whiskey,
like whiskey.
yeah. Well, speaking of whiskey, the Whiskey and Wine Show is phenomenal. Like my buddies will be texting back and forth during an LSU football game, and we'll be in the middle of the game and we'll be losing. And the first text I'll get from one of them's like, I can't wait to hear Whiskey and Wine tonight. Like that's all we're talking about.
It's incredible how sticky that show is. Like, it makes sense, because the concept is, for those that don't know, like T-Bob, who played at LSU, and we do a post-game stream at a cigar bar, and we basically smoke cigars, drink whiskey, or he drinks mezcal and smokes cigars and cigarillos and his weed pen and basically everything else, because he is like, I don't know how his body, he is an alien. Like, I don't know how his body withstands. Yeah, he is a one of one for sure. But but then we talk about the game. The whole concept is, we want it to sound like when you and your buddies are sitting at a bar talking about the game.
Exactly.
So that's what we do. It's been incredibly popular.
And y'all sound exactly like that. And my group messages are basically y'all on a show. Like, I mean, it's phenomenal to watch, and it's always gets us excited. Win or lose, we're ready to watch. It actually makes the losing help a little bit. So I'm watching.
The biggest, if anyone is interested, go check out, if you have any appetite to do so, the 2021 game when LSU lost at Kentucky. That was a game where Kayshon Boutte broke his leg, and it was just LSU got steamrolled by Kentucky. It was the bottoming out of the Ed Ogeron era. Like, it was rock bottom. That post game show, T-Bob was drinking double mezcals the whole game. And then and he was chain smoking cigarillos. You know what I'm talking about? Like, he had a box.
Oh, I know a Rello.
Cigarillos. He was just one to the next. And then obviously we start the show and they give us a cigar, and then he keeps drinking his double mezcals. And like, as big of a disaster as the football game was, the post game show was probably more so. So if you want to see a train wreck of a post game show, just go to YouTube and search for the 2021 LSU Kentucky Whiskey and Wine and enjoy.
Absolutely.
I've watched it a couple of times, actually. I watched it when O got fired. I watched it again.
I believe you.
So one thing I do want to ask, you talked about like how grateful you are to be in this industry and everything like that. Is there any like, I guess, motivation you have, like anything that jumps out to you to, I guess, continue to grind and work your way up?
Well, I mean, the motivation is, it's my profession. It's not a hobby. I mean, this is my job. Yeah. It's, the difference is, and I don't mean any disrespect at all, because I don't put on airs, but it's like, if I asked each of you, what do you do professionally? You're not going to say you're a professional media member. Like, it's a hobby for you guys. And I'm sure the goal is get it to a point where it is something that you could do more full time. For me, like, brother, I got a mortgage like y'all do. I got a kid who goes to school. I got a special needs kiddo who has doctors and therapists. I'm married, and this is my job. Like, I go to work the same way everybody goes to work, understanding this is this is my profession. This is what I do. It's not something I do for fun. It's what I do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I mean, maybe just the way that I'm wired is I just want to win. Like, I don't play just to play. I want to win. So, I mean, one of the really cool things about the digital age is, you know, there are metrics that define that. I can go look at how many downloads, how many streams, how many live viewers, how many on-demand viewers. That's all independent of our terrestrial radio numbers. I can look at sales. I can look at numbers every single day and, you know, measure that against where I've been, where I'm going, and set very clear goals. So yeah, man, I just want to win. I mean,
I like that.
if you beat me, I'll like hat tip, because you worked your ass off and you're really good. Because I don't know, like, I just can't let anybody outwork me. Like that's I mean, there are people who are more talented, but you want to blend work ethic and whatever God-given ability I have, and, you know, the good fortune to work with some super talented people who've helped me along the way. I mean, but back to what keeps me going. I don't have a choice, man. It's like, it's what I do. It's I got a mortgage payment due on the 1st.
Was there a moment or a person that made you feel like, okay, I can do this, or I've made it, or something like that? Was there a show or something that maybe helped you just bolt up to where you are now?
No, like, I don't know that if what you're asking, like, was there a viral moment that sort of catapulted? I don't think so. I think it's what most people don't realize. Like I mentioned Morning Scone a bit ago. Today was like episode 2008. That's like 2008 consecutive days I've done that show every morning.
Yeah.
I've done that show from pre-op, the day I had knee surgery. I've done it from vacation. I've done it from my car. I've done it from hotel rooms. Like, I'm telling you, like, you will not outwork me. So, you know, I think that the answer is just consistency.
Yeah.
So when you're consistent with the level of work you put in every day, that's a boring answer. But, you know, I'm trying to think if there even is someone who's just like an overnight media sensation. I mean, maybe the closest thing to that could be a guy like Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
He's just super entertaining. He gets it, you know?
Yeah.
So, but if I'm to go back, like, and I don't know if this is exactly what you were asking, Peyton, but I mean, I'll answer it this way. Like, I always believe that in media, there's two types of people. There's people who view everybody as competition and will step on your face to get wherever they want to go. Or there's people who realize that whatever they've accomplished professionally, they had help getting there and they're willing to pay it forward. So I most definitely like to think of myself as the latter, not the former. If anyone ever asks me for help, I'll bend over backwards to help because I realized, like, I had great people early in my career and still do that have helped me. I mean, I had great fortune to work with a guy named Ed Buggs, who you guys may not know who that is, but Ed's still to this day the most talented broadcaster I ever worked with. And I produced his show for 4 years, and it was actually a news talk, but just the opportunity to sit there and watch him work and get that education was so valuable. You know, Gordy Rush hired me to do the current show that I'm doing in January of 2010. And at the time, I mean, I was just doing a 1 hour sports talk show on an AM station in Baton Rouge that really didn't have much of an audience. But he saw or heard something in me and was like, yeah, I like that. We can work with that and build around that. So I'm very grateful because I've had great people around me that have helped me grow and develop, and they've also helped, you know, provide opportunities for me that I've been able to take advantage of.
I like that. Your mindset, like, really stands out, and you can tell that it's part of why you're here. I like that a lot. Chance, you got any questions?
No, I'm here to watch Peyton talk to him.
All right, Peyton, take over, man.
Well, I mean, I
Let's
guess
get
we're
into the
gonna-
LSU talk.
Let's talk about LSU.
Before we get to LSU, let's because
Hey, Chance, Chance. Wait. Chance, are you a Tech guy?
No, I love LSU. I'm here to
Okay, I
watch
just saw the
Peyton work.
Tech flag behind you.
Oh yeah, I went to Tech, so
I just
yeah.
assumed. No. Hey, actually, I talked to Sonny Cumby last week. He's a great dude, man. I'm pulling for him hard.
We're supposed to be getting them on one day.
Yeah.
Peyton's got a hookup somehow.
I met
Good.
him actually. I got his number. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Hey,
no, he's not one of those, Tech fans that is Tech and LSU sucks. We have
No,
some out
we
here.
support all.
Yeah.
We support all.
No, they just gave me my degree.
We don't
No, man.
support ULL. That's our one.
So let's get to the topic because I don't say you got me fired up this morning on Morning Scone. I get where you're coming from, and I know that it's the way to go, but with the realignment of everything right now. You talked about basically the smaller sports going away. It hurts me a little because I played college golf, so like I'm in one of the smaller sports. I know it's not making money. I know we lose money on that. Well, the one thing I thought about when you were talking about that today, why can't we're moving all around because of football. We're not doing it because of basketball. We're not doing it for why can't we keep the smaller sports where they're at now in the conference and just do this for football? Is that I mean, something possible?
So I think that's what's going to happen eventually. So I think, well, not now to be clear,
Yeah.
to be clear, I don't think we're going to regress and see the Pac-12 recreated with as it was. But I think what's going to happen specifically with football is, and guys, this isn't like, Peyton, I guess you know this because you've heard me say it, but for the benefit of the audience and you guys, this isn't something that I've just started spouting out based on what happened this week. Like I have for years said that we are headed for an inevitability in college football where we are going to have not conferences. We are just going to have college football, just one entity, whatever you want to call it, kind of like the NFL. Or like, I know people hate hearing that, but what I mean is there will be the 40 or 50 invite only football schools, and it'll be essentially these 40 or 50 that get together and they go negotiate their television rights together and go create a championship format together. And the rest of the country goes and plays its own thing. If it's, call it what you want, currently, the group of five or levels, I don't care how you structure it, but I think ultimately it's going to happen. But eventually all of the conferences will still exist for the benefit of the other sports to have some functionality and some structure around them. Because I mean, that's what the NCAA was founded for. People don't realize this, but like the NCAA was founded as to organize championships. I mean, that's the functionality of the NCAA 100 years ago was. So, I mean, like when every sport has its championship, you get that brown, some of those like tall brown trophies.
Yeah.
There isn't one of those for football. There isn't one for football because the NCAA doesn't govern the football's postseason. They've already broken apart their postseason independently. It's only a matter of time before they do the entirety of college football just independently. So that's
I never thought about it like that.
That's gonna happen. I mean, that is the end. That is the inevitable end we're headed to. People keep saying, well, there'll be 2 super conferences. Like, structure it however you want, but ultimately just understand what's going to happen is you're not going to have the SEC with its rights deal, the Big Ten with its rights deal, the Mountain Pack or whatever they're going to call it with its rights deal. Like you're just going to have, just in the same way that the NFL has negotiates the TV rights deals with NBC, CBS, Fox, ESPN, like college football is going to do the same thing. And they'll divvy it up evenly. And you'll have a 40, 50 team, college football league that represents major college football. Like that's where we're headed.
And what do you think that's going to do to the others? Do you think they're going to start playing for one of them brown trophies?
You mean the other football programs?
Yeah.
The Louisiana Techs and ULMs of the world.
Gotta hope so. I mean, absolutely. Like this is for me, and maybe you guys can actually shed some perspective. Like I went to LSU.
Yeah.
So as much as I like to have my finger on the pulse of the people I cover and the sports that I cover, like I cannot for the life of me understand. I mean, I know why we have 133 FBS schools. I know why. And the reason is money. Because if you're, like you mentioned, ULM, I don't have this year's schedule in front of me. Maybe you guys do or know it offhand. My guess is ULM is playing at least 2 or maybe 3 Power 5 opponents.
Yes.
In the non-conference. 3. Okay. They're going to net, most likely, or gross, I guess, north of $1 million in all 3 of those games, which is going to amount to roughly 15% of their annual athletic budget. So in order to fund a bunch of sports that hemorrhage money, they have to go play in the FBS, get their head kicked in 3 times to be able to fund all the other sports, sorry, Peyton, like golf, that hemorrhage money. So, and I get it, because we can have the conversation about college sports is still, like they're still student athletes, and what's the greater good of college athletes, and what are academic institutions trying. That's fine. But years ago, guys, we lost our way. Like years ago, we lost our way because schools like, I'm not picking on ULM at all. I promise I'm not. Like, I
you
cheer for all
can.
the
You
big
can.
schools.
We're perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
But fill in the blank of whoever. It can be Bowling Green. It can be whoever.
Yeah.
They've had to play this keeping up with the Joneses game. So they got to pay their coach $1 million. Like, why are you, when your annual revenue is $15 million, $20 million, why are you paying a football coach $1 million?
Yeah.
Guys, it doesn't make sense. Look at any business. I mean, like, if anyone that's listening that owns a business understands, like, if you're a company that does 15 million of top line revenue, before you even start talking about, gross profit, let alone net profit, ain't nobody walking out of there with $2 million a year. Not an employee
To win 3 games.
You know what I mean? So anyway, I told you, radio guy, I talk a lot. So to the question, yes, like I hope so. Why, if you're ULM, if you're Tech, if you're ULL, if you're UTEP, if you're Ohio, Bowling Green, name it, name the school. Why wouldn't you want the opportunity to compete for a national championship at your level? It's no different than like if you're a 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A school in Louisiana. Why do we have classifications?
Yeah.
Why do we have weight classes in boxing? Because if you weigh $120, you ain't lining up against Mike Tyson. Like, you're not going against Tyson Fury and having success. Like, there's a reason there's weight classes, and there should be in college football as well. But the reason we've gone awry is because the money is there for the G5 schools playing in the FBS through bowl opportunities, through playing Power 5 opponents, to be able to fund the rest of their athletic departments. And my point has always been, like, what happened on Friday, that's not an evidence of greed. The evidence of greed is a century old. I mean, the fact that 100 years ago, dudes in ugly blazers decided that they could play bowl games and schools could get a payout. Well, why would we go play a real playoff championship? Let's have the Big Ten and the Pac-12 have a tie-in with the Rose Bowl around the Parade of Roses, and then they know they're all getting a payout every year.
Yeah.
Why have a true championship format? Anyway, dude, I'm like, you wind me up. I'm like one of them toys, man. You just crank on this, crank the back of it, and I'll just go.
That before we interviewed you, I asked Peyton, I said, the one thing I do want to ask is about the college realignment. He said he's going to get ready for that. Like he's going to be ready and he's going to go in. So yeah, that was everything I expected.
I've always had that same thought. Like, I've always thought Power 5 should have their national championship. Group of 5 has one that FCS has there, and then D2, 3, whatever, all the way down. I mean, Tech will never win a national championship in football.
Yeah, well, and
never,
with Tech,
ever, ever.
With Tech, like, we go into the season and we know if we win every single game, they're not going to make the national championship.
No, yeah.
And like then you get excited for the Auto Care New Orleans Bowl or something. Like I don't care about that. I want a national championship
or the Independence Bowl.
Or the Independence
Bowl.
Bet the over.
And that's what you do.
It is the greatest fundamental absurdity. Like, college football is, guys, listen to this. in the history of mankind, go back to the Romans when they used to fight in the Colosseum naked against each other, like fight to the death. Up until now, in the history of mankind, there has never been a sport where you can literally win every game you play. You can win them all, and you don't even get a chance to play for a championship until college football.
Yeah.
Like college, and I'm passionate about it, guys, because I love it. Like we're having this conversation because we all love college football.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
I love college football. But like we love college football in spite of itself.
Absolutely.
And the powers that be in college football have taken advantage of the four of you and me and our passion for the game for a century. And it's coming to an end. And part of that impetus was NIL, because the free labor finally pushed back and we're like, yeah, we're not doing this anymore. And that was the first domino of the fall that has started this whole chain reaction. And it's going to be a great thing, because what's going to happen is we're going to end up getting great, like, guys, with respect, nobody wants to watch LSU play Grambling this year. Nobody wants to see it.
Well, we have a
Like,
giveaway, so them people better want to.
Yeah, we're giving away 2
I mean,
tickets.
guys, like, it's a game in Tiger Stadium, and I get it. Like, there are Grambling fans who are going to like seeing their team play. But like,
And the
my
band.
point is, would you rather watch LSU Grambling non-conference or LSU bring in Ohio State non-conference?
Yeah.
Like,
Dude,
there's a
not
difference.
even Ohio State.
And
Let's just go Ohio.
Well, that's true. but
Hey.
even Ohio, like,
Well,
you know,
all
I
I
mean,
know,
it's
Matt,
games you wanna
is
see.
the Golden Band from Tigerland is not going to be the best band in Death Valley that night. That's all I know.
That is true. That is true.
So I don't know if this is a controversial take on that, but I'll push back a little in this respect.
It probably is.
There are coexisting realities. In the same way that you can be the greatest country music artist of all time and the greatest rock and roll artist of all time, like, you can both be great at what you do, but then it just becomes a matter of like personal preference. What do you want? Like, LSU is a traditional military style marching band. Grambling is just a hell of a lot of fun. So what do you like? What do you want to watch? You know, like, I hate country music. You could bring me to, who's the greatest country artist of all time? Clint Black? I don't know. I would hate my life to do
No.
that show.
Negative.
I'm with you on
George,
that.
George Strait. I don't come on, whoever.
Dude, Garth
Like,
Brooks.
Kenny, name, I don't know. I would be miserable at that show. You bring me to, I don't know, bring me to go see Beyonce, bro, I'm gonna have the time of my life. You know what I mean? So, anyway.
Hey, Matt.
This is Ty, by the way.
Yeah, Ty.
What's
How
up?
you doing?
Hey, Ty, what did you grab out of the fridge?
Sir?
What did you grab out of
What did you grab out of the fridge?
Oh, a water.
Huh. That's
Yeah.
not nearly as fun as you could.
But I put some Miller Lite in there, by the way.
This is RT, Bob.
But hey, look, I used to live in Baton Rouge. My good friend is Jordan Piazza. Do you know him?
Yeah, Jordan Piazza, absolutely.
Yes. Phil's Oyster Bar. So
Yeah, I was there on
yes.
Friday.
You don't think he hasn't been there and probably knows?
No,
Like,
I just like to
Hey,
name
man,
drop.
Phil's is like a who's who. You walk into Phil's and you never quite know. Like, I mean, you might walk into Phil's and Scott Woodward's there, or the governor's there, or
Oh, absolutely. Hey,
Will Wade's having lunch, or you never know, man.
Or buying lunch for a recruit.
dude, when Charlie Weiss was at Notre Dame, when he was coming down, like I met Charlie there, Jamarcus Russell there.
Okay.
At Phil's?
Oh yeah.
we went from Charlie Weiss to Jamarcus Russell. That's there we go.
That's the 2 right there.
Dwayne
Well, they
Bowe.
played in that
Both
Sugar Bowl.
sucked in the NFL.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right. They did.
Yep,
You're
yep.
right.
Yeah.
they played in that Sugar Bowl, which was the 06 season. So that was New Year's 07.
And hey, for a year, I went to Christian Life. Michael Clayton's mom was my teacher.
Yeah, man. What a freak, man. He was so much fun to watch. Michael Clayton was that 2001 team is still, I mean, 03 for LSU, that championship is still my favorite LSU team ever. I was a senior at LSU, and that's the one that broke through, 45 years without winning a national championship, a day many of us never thought we'd see in our lifetime. I mean, all the championship teams are great in their own right for different reasons, but man, 2001 and 2003 were incredible. Break through, get to Atlanta, win the SEC, and then win the national championship. Those were good days, man. Good days.
Peyton,
Actually,
get us some LSU questions out there.
Uh-oh.
What you got?
Uh-oh. What's he got?
So in 2001, LSU beat Auburn to win the West for the first time ever. It was the game that was postponed by 9/11. The game was supposed to be played in September, but got moved to the first weekend in December. Alabama beat Auburn, which created an opportunity for LSU to play Auburn in the postponed game in a de facto SEC West championship game. So it was the time prior, 99, when Auburn came to Baton Rouge, Tommy Tuberville and the players all smoked cigars on the field. So the big thing in 01 was when LSU won, everybody was going to smoke cigars. So LSU wins. They win the West for the first time, going to Atlanta for the first time, ran onto the field. I grabbed a big chunk of the eye of the tiger and smoked a cigar. Or lit a cigar. As you can tell, the whole thing is still there because I had no idea what the hell I was doing. So the whole cigar is still in there. But I've had that for 22 years in a jar.
That's awesome.
Whoa. You haven't been hunted down yet or anything?
22 for dirt? I don't think so, brother.
Let's talk a little LSU football of this year coming up. Okay, obviously our weakest unit, or the unit we're more scared about, is our secondary, and corners more so than safeties. You agree with that?
I'm not sure I do. Because at safety, you got Major Burns, who has never been able to stay healthy.
Major
When we were at
bust.
practice last week, they were running Major Burns and Andre Sam as the starters. And Andre Sam is in his 7th year of college football, by the way.
Jesus.
And he started his career at McNeese, went to Marshall, and now is at LSU. But when that dude who's been on campus for about a day and a half is running with your first team at safety, that goes to show you have some questions at safety. So I don't know that corner's a big question too, but safety's got its own issues.
Well, let's take the secondary unit out. What's your next unit that you're watching for that you're a little nervous about?
Edge rusher.
Okay, that was my next question. Yeah.
So how do you replace BJ Ojolari and Ali Gay?
Yeah.
Harold Perkins is magnificent. They're moving him inside. He's going to play inside backer with Omar Spates, the Oregon State transfer. But somebody's got to step up at both end spots. So one of the guys that when we got to see him last week, Ovie Agofu was starting at the jack linebacker. That's where Ojolari played last year. Ovie Agofu is a wild story, guys. He started his college career at Notre Dame under Brian Kelly, transferred to Texas, and now is playing for Kelly again at Notre Dame. So his helmet wall is Notre Dame, Texas, LSU. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good helmet.
Solid. Yeah, solid.
It's not bad.
So Ovie Agofu was running first team at Jack, and then Savion Jones was running first team like at that big end spot where Ali Gay was last year. But man, they just got a ton of production they got to replace. Somebody's got to be able to step up and rush the passer. So
But Savion Jones going to make that next step.
They got a lot of talent. Who's going to do it?
Is Savion Jones going to take that next step? You think? He looks the part. He has the body, and he looks good coming off the bus. But I just don't know if we'll see the production like we want to see from him. I hope we do, though.
Yeah, he looks good. Yeah, I think, and even I don't have his stats in front of me from last year, but even last year when he played, he was productive. He was just behind, Ali Gay, who was just such a great player. But yeah, I think Savion looks great. And then, who's going to line up behind him is interesting. Deshaun Womack was the highest rated signee in this recent class. And I thought they were going to play Womack at that jack spot, but they're playing him at defensive end behind, behind Savion and Quincy Wiggins, who's, who was here a year ago, in his second season. They're looking for big things from him as well. They've got, I mean, look, it's LSU. Like they've got dudes that are giant, tall, athletic dudes with arms like pterodactyls, and they jump like gazelles. I mean, it's just LSU. I mean, they got a whole bunch of really talented dudes. It's just a matter of they coach them up. Can they exist within the scheme? Can they make the right plays at the right time? I mean, that's going to be the big question for this team. But man, when you look at fewest question marks against a manageable schedule, I mean, LSU checks a lot of the boxes. I mean, the hype this year is warranted. I mean, I understand why people weren't LSU a year ago, but they answered a lot of those questions and have supplemented that roster nicely.
Omar Speights, it kind of excites me. He just looks like an SEC linebacker. Got a lot of experience too, and beside Harold Perkins, I think that could be a real good duo for us back there. I hope he really blossoms and has a great year.
Yeah, he was a 3-year starter at Oregon State. And he was all Pac-12 last year. So that's a guy who, you lose Micah Baskerville, who was your leading tackler last year. So you need someone to come in and be a 100 tackle guy in the middle of your defense.
Yeah.
You need someone to be that Micah Baskerville, Damone Clark, whoever that guy is going to be. And I think in time that's going to be Harold Perkins. Hell, it may be this year. I mean, he's a freak show. But Spates is one of those guys that like day one, he's out there taking the first rep of every linebacker. He wears number 1, incidentally. It's weird to see a big linebacker. He's a big kid too, a big linebacker like that wearing number 1. But you can tell like he's even got like this big old beard. He's got this gigantic like big bushy beard. Like he looks like an old man, not old, but like a grown man on the field. Like it's funny, guys. I mean, you cover the sport long enough. It's one of the weird discrepancies or disparities you see is you from the stands or on TV, you watch these enormous humans, and then like you go on the field or like you go to Mediaville and you meet these players and they're like they're children. You know what I mean? Like they have baby faces and they're 18, 19. They're young people. But then you look at a guy like Omar Speights and you're like, damn, bro, you getting Social Security yet? I mean, he's just old. That's wild.
Let's move to the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, the offensive line is, I mean, could we say it's probably one of the best offensive lines we've had in the last, how many years? I mean, our 2019 line was good and sent players to the league. I'm not sure how great
it feels like this one has star power.
Yeah.
It's got the names.
Yeah, Joe Burrow kind of helped that offensive line get through that year.
I mean, we did an LSU offensive like draft, and our O line we were struggling to like fill out O linemen.
Yes,
and, and it
like all time.
It feels like all time.
Yeah,
that feels like a unit that LSU's kind of like. We've had guys that were good at LSU, but were never like superstars for the nation, I guess you could say.
Yeah. It's weird because, like, I mean, y'all know this, y'all are here, but like Louisiana produces great skill guys. Like you're never wanting for receivers, running backs, corners, right?
Yeah.
And Louisiana has also really produced defensive linemen at a high level. Like from Mason Smith to Chad Lavallee to Kyle Williams. I mean, y'all know the list.
Yeah.
Like the state's always produced there. It's weird that this state doesn't really produce elite offensive linemen. Like every so often a Cam Robinson or an Andrew Whitworth shows up. So one of the benefits that I think LSU has had is that in a matter of 2 years, you've had 3 freakishly amazing offensive linemen and in the state, and you got them all. You got Will Campbell, you got Emory Jones, and you got Lance Hurd. So to get all 3 of those guys on campus is a major hat tip to Brian Kelly. And then the other thing too is he's done a really good job. Like it's kind of amazing how like coaches have their niche, but his has been offensive line and tight end. If you go back to like
Yeah.
his time at Notre Dame, that's like he pumps offensive linemen in Notre Dame and tight ends into the draft and into the NFL. And not just like 7th round picks, I mean like 1st round, like
Zach Martin.
Zach Martin. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So
Quentin
Mike
Nelson.
McGlinchey, yeah, Ronnie Staley. Like it's just that, or Stanley from Baltimore. Like there's
Yeah.
dudes. So I think the job they did developing Charles Turner last year, who looked like he was just going to be a wash, right?
Yeah.
Bringing in a guy like Miles Frazier from FIU and turning him into a starter. Yeah, man. I mean, I think look, it's so wild to look at last year when Garrett Dellinger was the starting center against Florida State. The guy had never snapped a ball in a game in his life. It's wild. You know, they were in fall camp last year, guy. We would go watch practice. They were literally cross training 5 guys at center. They were trying to find someone to snap the ball. So it's wild that they are where they are now. You know, and in their first 8 games last year, they used 6 different line combinations. So to be at a point where you return 6 of your top 7 guys, the only one gone is Bradford, and you add Mason Lunsford, who has played a 4-year player at Maryland, and then you add Lance Hurd, who's a 5-star. I mean, you feel really good about your entire 2 deep on this team. So, I mean, look, at the beginning of the year last year, y'all, LSU's one of their best offensive play was just, hey, Jalen, run. I mean, it was, you know, or Jaden, run. It was like, because the offensive line was so bad. They're like, I think that offensive line is going to be awesome this year. Yeah. So you got that. You got 8 running backs that they like. I think Ty going to get another beer. I know you're getting a beer back there, but you got to tell me he's getting water. I'm getting water.
Well, hey, look, I got a little bet on the CFL game right now.
Respect. How we doing?
We're covering right now.
But
you got 1.5?
Degenerate gambler right here.
There's no judgment whatsoever. Respect.
Well, hey, we had a good day at the Wyndham Championship, trying to let it ride on the CFL.
Oh man, and that is why sports exist right there.
Who was the Korean that got top 5? Kyle, not Kyle. Ty.
I can't say his name. Hold on. We'll see if Peyton can say his name. Hold on.
I've never heard of the guy.
Right. Top 5.
Top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to try. No.
It's like
I couldn't tell
some
you.
Woo Am or something.
I love betting golf. That's awesome. And betting golf leads right to football season.
You know what's funny about betting golf? Like,
tell me about
it. So when COVID happened and everything was shut down, like I got a lot of friends that are like degenerates. They bet on everything, kind of like you. But
dude, we'll bet Korean baseball, baby.
No, for real. But so like when everything shut down, like UFC and golf were like the first things to come back. And golf, you could play golf because you had social distancing and all that crap. So like they play golf. So I had buddies who were degenerates that had never bet golf that learned to bet golf because it's the only thing they could bet on. So yeah, man, respect. Yeah. Get out there, get your consensus golf picks in there, man.
Oh,
don't let nobody golf picks.
Dude, I know we're talking about LSU, but we could talk golf if you're ready.
I mean, I'd rather not talk golf. Certainly not in the specifics of golf, but you know.
Are you sure you don't want to talk about Canadian Football League?
Ooh. Okay, here we go.
And
they
just scored.
On. It was the Korean. Byung-Hoon An.
Yeah.
There we go.
Got him.
Yeah.
Ty, you're no longer covering as of right now.
He won a pretty good little bit this afternoon on that man. So
wait, Byung, could get you some.
Okay.
Getting back to LSU though. What do you think about Jaden Daniels? Do you think he's, because looking at the betting markets, speaking of betting, he's I think second for the Heisman odds behind Caleb Williams. And Do you think he's going to have that kind of season this year?
I do. I think Jaden is going to throw for the second most yards in program history in a single season.
Whoa. Okay.
I think so. Joe Burrow. I mean, who's just like draw a line and never have the conversation again, right? It's like, all right, Joe Burrow is what it is. Like it'll never. I mean,
Yes.
Dude threw for 60 touchdowns. 60
in the SEC.
60. Gee, like 56. People ask, like, who's going to be the next Joe Burrow? Nobody. Ever. Nobody. Stop. He threw for 5,600 yards.
That team feels like a dream.
60. Yeah, I mean, so understand, like, we all got to watch it. It's glorious. Put it on the mantle, admire it at every opportunity, but realize also that's never going to happen again.
Yes.
But aside from Burrow, let's see, Rohan in 01, Jamarcus in 06, Mettenberger in 13, and I feel like I'm leaving one off, that have thrown for 3,000 yards in a season. No, that's it. That's it. And then and then the Burrow, that's it. That have thrown for 3,000 yards in a season at LSU. Jaden last year was at like 29-16. He was just a hair, or 29-87, like just a hair under 3,000 yards.
Yeah.
So and he played half the season and still trying to figure out, where his dorm room was. So like another year in this offense, another year as a starter, rapport with the receivers. Yeah, I mean, I think Dan's going to have a great season. And then obviously to win the Heisman, like, you have to be a quarterback on a really good team. So a big part of that is going to be like, is LSU going to be the type of team a lot of us think they're going to be? And if they are, then yeah, he'll be in that mix at the end.
I love to hear that. Absolutely.
I think he's going to work his way into a first-round draft pick, honestly. He's everything that the NFL is becoming. So
that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, this is going to be sort of the year of the quarterback with Caleb Williams, Drake May, Michael Penix.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be a ton of them. Pratt down at Tulane is getting a ton of love as well. But there's something to be said for a guy that's in his fifth year, that's played a ton of ball, that has poise and presence, arm strength, and mobility, which is kind of what the modern quarterback in the NFL is morphing into. I mean, he checks a lot of those boxes for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of Daniels, his weapons was his neighbors. Brian Thomas, who I think is going to have a great year.
I think he's going to take the leap Neighbors took last year.
And Lacey, you got those three, and I know they're going to use Anderson in all kind of ways.
That's going to be so much fun.
That's going to be so much fun to watch. Who's going to be that fourth? Well, I mean, I guess fifth, but fourth receiver that's other than them that's going to just maybe have a breakout year this year that we're going to be like, okay, he's going to be the future after the Neighbors and Thomas's leave.
Well,
Brown.
You mentioned receivers and not just pass catchers, because you can't leave off. I know we're just talking receiver, but like Mason Taylor, has to be. He was, the way Brian Kelly's going to use him is going to be more of a receiving pass catcher. But when you ask the coaches, and everyone I had a conversation with this offseason, and you mentioned him, but the one they all talk about is Kyron Lacey. Like, they think Kyron Lacey is poised for a monster year. We were at practice on Thursday, the first practice, and they're running 7-on-7s. And Lacey was on the left hash, and he ran an out route, and he just like elevated on the sideline over a defender, made like a one-handed catch and toe tapped. I mean, he's Lacey is the guy that most people probably, like, everybody's going to mention Brian Thomas for good reason. I mean, he's played a lot in his 2 years, and I think Brian Thomas is going to have a great year. But the one that I would say be ready, that most people don't mention, is Kyron Lacey. Now, after that, I would say look at Chris Hilton. If Chris Hilton played at Zachary here, and he was a track guy, the most impressive thing about Chris is he has bulked up a lot. Like, he has physically changed his body. Chris came here as a guy that was just a speed demon and a great athlete, but needed to learn to play the receiver position. And then, had some injury issues, but he looks healthy. He looks awesome. He wears 17. Keep an eye on Chris Hilton. If you're looking for like an off the radar guy that maybe is poised and ready, Hilton could be a really good bet.
And I hope he stays healthy. I mean, he's had the injury bug, seems like, and and you hear good things about him. I remember last year before season during camp, you were hearing a lot about his name. And I hope he can stay healthy because I want to see that speed.
Oh, absolutely.
And I felt like we missed a little bit of that last year. I feel like a little stretch the field type receiver. I'm excited for him. The running back room, my gosh, Matt, we got 8 of them. I mean, how's he gonna keep them all happy? And
Well,
explain, man. The weirdest Trey Bradford has the weirdest college career I've seen in a while. Like, I mean, that's and I can actually see him making an impact for us this year in a way in that deep room.
who? I don't know how Bradford makes an impact if there's not injury somewhere along the way. Now he's a really good pass catcher.
Well, that's not necessarily running the ball, maybe running a jet sweep or catching out in I could see him get on the field some.
Man, it's just you got 8 guys. I mean, so start from the bottom. Like, let's assume the 2 freshmen aren't going to play, and I don't think they are. I don't think Holly and Jackson really make an impact this year. So that leaves you with 6, and you got to remember you got Jaden Daniels as well. The best comp that I think I can give people is if you look back to the 2011 season, it was very similar because you had Spencer Ware and Michael Ford and Alfred Blue and Kenny Hilliard and you had
Stephen
a
Ridley probably, huh?
No, Ridley wasn't. That Ridley's last year was 10, but I'm trying to pull it up real quick just as sort of evidence of it. But this is what they did in 2011. I think this is probably a good comp. So Ford had 127 carries, Ware had 177, Blue had 78, Hilliard had 62, Jefferson had 75, and then Terrence McGee had 27. So
Terrence McGee.
That's 5 running backs and your quarterback. And then Russell Shepard had 7, which was all jet sweeps and stuff. So, like, maybe that's the Aaron Anderson rule. But, like, that's what I think. I think you're probably going to have 5 guys all with about 50 carries or more.
That's the LSU way.
I think Josh Williams and Logan Diggs are probably your 2 leading rushers on this team. But I think there's a role for Armani Goodwin and a role for Noah Kane and guys like that on this team. But, I don't know that there's Clyde was a bell cow. Fournette was a bell cow. Geis was a bell cow. Jeremy Hill was a bell cow. Like, there was a stretch where LSU always had that guy. I don't know that guy is on this team, but they got a lot of dudes I think they can lean on.
I think they want Goodwin in there some just because his breakaway speed. I mean, Williams does his things and Diggs, but I feel like Goodwin has that take it to the house speed. And this
extra gear.
The crazy thing is we're sitting here talking about that, and we didn't even mention John Emery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, he's finishing his internship right now.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, but it's so true. It's just evidence of the depth at the position. I mean, I think if you lead with Williams and Diggs, because Diggs didn't come here to sit the bench. If you lead with Williams and Diggs, and you've got Emery as a home run hitter, and you've got Armani Goodwin, who's a really tough runner, and they love Noah Kane. I mean, Noah Kane is
reliable.
He's healthy, and a big thing he worked on was flexibility. So he's not so much of just a foot, one cut, foot in the ground, get upfield back anymore. So I think getting him more flexible on his hips and getting him healthy was a big thing. So, I mean, I think those are probably your 5, which leaves Bradford and the 2 freshmen kind of on the outside looking in.
Can Bradford not do any special teams? Can you not return kicks and punts? They're not.
We have Aaron Anderson.
I mean, I you got Anderson, but the way our special teams has been the last couple of years, you got to have a couple in the rotation. I feel like Bradford could do something like that.
I can just tell you, when we were at practice last week, he was not back there returning kicks. The guys returning kicks and punts were Greg Clayton, who did that a bit last year. Yeah. Anderson was back there. Javen Nicholas, who is a former walk-on from St. Aug, and golly, there was one more, and I'm blanking on it now. There was somebody else that wasn't Trey Bradford, but I forgot who the 4th guy was.
Yeah, and then I know I heard you the other day talking about the tight end room and
Pemberton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
gained like 20 pounds, they said already.
Yeah, he looks the part already. Is he going to be Mason's backup?
So I know everybody's talking about Pimpton because like he's 6'6" and has long arms. I'm gonna tell you, man, like maybe this is just from watching so much Saints football over the years, like where they've always had the pass catching tight end and then the more traditional, like affixed to the line tight end. And that guy is Mac Markway. Mac Markway is impressive. Like you talk about an 18-year-old kid who is just built rock solid. I mean, that Mason Taylor is your pass catcher. Mac Markway is your more traditional inline blocker.
Your
who's also
Brian Kelly type of tight end.
Yeah, but Kelly's had. I mean, think about guys like Alizé Mack. You know,
That's true.
He's had athletic tight ends as well, along with the Kyle Rudolphs and the Cole Kmets and guys like that. I think the other one that, I mean, look, I'm just telling you based on what I saw going into practice, the first guy taking reps after Mason Taylor was Jackson McGowan, who's number 83. So they're going to figure that out, you know, with the tight ends and how that rotation is going to go. But just suffice to say, they got 4 guys there that are all really, they're young. I mean, you know, Mason Taylor's a true sophomore. He's the elder statesman, but they are an impressive group there, man. That is you can tell why that's Brian Kelly's sort of prowess, right? He knows what he's looking for at that position. He can recruit and develop tight ends, man. They use them too. They're going to use
it. And it ain't slowing down in the future either.
No.
Got plenty of guys coming in.
Yeah.
We don't want to keep you too much longer. Obviously, we appreciate how long you've been on here. Peyton, you got one more
question, and it's putting him on the spot probably because it's probably something you got to kind of think about. It's one of those things that in my group message we kind of started it a couple weeks ago because all the star status of LSU lately and some of these players that have coming through. If you had to do a Mount Rushmore of LSU athletics, any sport, what 4 would it be?
I'd start with Joe Burrow, which is weird because any conversation forever would have always started with Billy Cannon. Yeah. But I think you have to have Burrow on it now.
Yeah.
I think Pete's got to be on there. I'd put Skip Bertman on there if we're including coaches. Are we talking coaches or just athletes?
Yeah, coaches is fine. Yeah.
Joe Brady.
The last one's tough, and the names in my mind are Shaq and Billy Cannon, and I would probably go to Billy Cannon because he was the first great. That's where every conversation started forever. So I think it speaks volumes about LSU and the amount of history and tradition through the program where a guy like Shaq wouldn't be on a list like that. But considering the impact that Skip had in college baseball, I'd have him there. So I'd have Burrow, Pete, Skip, and Billy Cannon. Those would be my 4.
I like that.
Yeah,
that's a good 4.
I got a quick one real quick.
Okay. All right.
What is your realistic expectation for LSU this year? What do you see happening?
I think they go 11-1, and I picked them to win the SEC. I always look at. I told you it was going to happen. We almost got to the end, but here it comes.
Yes.
Come say hi. Come say hi.
What's up, bud?
Come say hi to everybody.
What's up, dude?
Peyton, we almost made it, man. I knew you were. His name is Peyton.
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
Hi, Peyton. Oh, he's done. Oh, he's
bye, bud.
He gone. He gone.
Yeah,
he gone. As long as he's inquisitive. As long as he can see what's going on, and then he's good, then he's gone. So, no, I when I go into a season, I always look at who has the fewest amount of questions against the most manageable schedule. And when I look at the SEC this year, I think this is the worst quarterback year in the league since 2014. And if you remember back in 2013, it was incredible. You had Johnny Manziel coming off his Heisman year. AJ McCarron, who's a two-time national champion, Aaron Murray, who set every SEC career passing record, Jack Mettenberger. Even at South Carolina, Connor Shaw had back-to-back 11-win seasons. You had James Franklin at Missouri. I mean, it was incredible. Like Dak was at Mississippi State. Bo
Nix.
Bo Wallace that was at
Bo Wallace.
14.
Bo Nix wasn't playing that long.
Yeah, Bo Wallace.
But in 14, you could have made a case that Bo Wallace was the best quarterback in the league. Right?
Yeah,
Bo Wallace and Dak. I mean, that was the year 14 when both Ole Miss and Mississippi State were at the top of the rankings in the CFP in the first. My point is, it was a bad quarterback year in 2014. All the great players in 13 left, and 14 was terrible. I think this year is similar. So when you're LSU and you've got a guy that's been a 5-year starter,
proven,
and your schedule flips to where A&M, Auburn, Florida all come to Baton Rouge, Tennessee rotates off, Missouri rotates on. Yes, you have to go to Bama, but Bama's got their own issues.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need to go into them, but I think it's so hard to go undefeated. I mean, even Nick's 7 national champions, only 2 of them have been undefeated. 5 of his 7 national championship teams have lost a game.
That seems crazy to think about.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard. So people say, well, what game do you think they lose? I don't know. I mean, I could see them losing at Bama. I could, honestly, guys, I could see LSU losing a home game to Auburn.
Yeah.
Auburn has an open date before they come to Baton Rouge. And what, buddy?
Who else?
Who else? What do you mean, who else? I'm trying to talk about sports here. What you doing? No, don't tell.
What's up, dude?
What's her name?
I already told you. His name is Peyton.
What's up, buddy?
Mm,
Did you go see
You
a
wanna go see-
Yeah.
Okay, go see Mommy. We're almost done. Okay. Sorry. But anyway, so I look, when LSU plays Auburn, Auburn has an open date before they come here. I think Hugh Freeze is going to beat someone he has no business beating. And that comes after LSU has back-to-back road games before they play Auburn. So that could be a tricky spot. So I don't know, man. I think you stub your toe somewhere along the way, but you find a way to get to Atlanta. I think Georgia has real questions this year, losing Todd Monken. You're obviously got Carson Beck starting at quarterback for the first time. You lose 5 defensive starters. I just think LSU's poised to do it. I think they're primed to make a run to the playoff, and we'll see if they can get in, or even if their one loss is to Alabama, if they don't make the SEC championship game, at 11-1, if your only loss is a close road loss to Bama, you're probably still in. So
yeah, absolutely.
I think this is a playoff team. I do. I didn't think that a year ago, and I think most people who ever listen to me know that no one would really classify me as the homer guy, but I'll give you an honest opinion. If I think they're good, I'll tell you. If I think they're going to stink, I'll tell you. And I think this team is going to be really, really good.
Well, yeah,
Well,
Matt.
here's something weird.
What you got?
Bama's a 6.5 point favorite against us already somehow. So they don't even know who's playing quarterback.
That number was higher earlier in this offseason.
Wow.
But that's going to be the only game all season. If you look at the early lines right now, that's the only game where LSU is an underdog. Like the line against Florida State has grown. I mean, at one point that was a pick. I think it's 2.5 now.
Yep.
And I expect that'll keep growing. I mean, that's the only game where LSU is going to be an underdog. And I think they can win it.
And it could change too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Would you
Bama's
bet the bank on the
interesting.
Florida State game?
I'm sorry.
Would you bet the bank on Florida State game covering?
No. I wouldn't be surprised if LSU lost that. I think Jordan Travis is a great player. I could see LSU winning that one
shootout
24-14. I could see winning that one 38-10. I could also see Florida State winning 28-27. So it's tricky when it's the first game of the year and Florida State returns so much talent. And I mean, they returned 97% of their production from a year ago. And Jordan Travis against LSU, you have to tip your hat to that kid. He was awesome against LSU.
Nobody's stock is as high as his right now. Besides Caleb Williams and Drake May, obviously, but he's the next guy people are just really drooling over right now for some reason. So
he had a great year.
He had a great year, but let's see him do it again. That's always my rule of thumb. Like with Shohei Ohtani, I'm very wrong on that. But let's see Jordan Travis do it again, and I'll bite my tongue.
Joey Ohtani, is that the golfer that won today?
Yeah.
Ty's looking them up right now.
Hey, tell you what, Matt, don't bet Canadian football.
It's not going the good guy's way, huh?
He needs 3.5, and he's got 2 right now with 5 minutes
I
left.
need a field goal.
Nah, you're fine. You're fine. You got it. Rocket
Yeah.
chair.
Matt, we appreciate this.
So
This-
much.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's about an hour long of this interview. So
Great time.
yeah, it was a great time. We really got you riled up with the conference stuff. So
knew it was
I know
coming.
you appreciated that. Yeah, we appreciate it though. Thanks for coming on. Y'all got anything else to say?
No, I just appreciate it, man. And continued success. I will be watching in the morning on Morning Scone. So,
Yeah.
Thanks,
Represent
guys.
Baton
My
Rouge,
pleasure. Y'all have a
baby.
great day.
all right,
All right, thank you.